Hey everyone, in today's video we're diving into an urgent topic every crypto investor needs to know. Sophisticated scams that could drain your wallet in seconds. Stick with me as I break down 4 common crypto scams, how they work, and most importantly, how you can avoid them. Let's ensure your investments remain safe in this fast-moving crypto space. Okay, I want to share you this rather alarming article on X where an unfortunate 67-year-old retired artist have actually lost almost 18 bitcoins due to a Coinbase impersonators. Now, I just want to bring this to your attention because we are seeing a lot of growing raft of highly sophisticated scam attacks, and this is just unfortunately one of those that is part of the scammers armory. So let's go through the details and just bear with me because I want to explain the process, because just to give you the magnitude of what this unfortunate person had gone through. So he got the name of the individual, which is Ed. He's a 67-year-old retired artist. He's amassed almost $2 million worth of digital assets through the 18 bitcoins in a sophisticated scam. The incident is believed to be tied to the major data breach at Coinbase, one of the world's largest digital assets exchanges. Suman's story is part of a bigger wave of attacks on digital asset holders using stolen personal information and has triggered lawsuits, regulatory concerns, and questions about digital security in the Bitcoin space. It's not just akin to Bitcoin, it's every other digital asset and tokens. So how did Suman have actually started this scam journey? So back in March this year, in fact, he received a spurious text message about a suspicious activity on his Coinbase account. After Suman reported he was unaware of any unauthorized activity regarding his account, he received a call from a man who supposedly introduced himself as Brett Miller from Coinbase Security. Now, the guy sounded legit, as most scammers do. They tend to be awfully friendly, as someone you can rely on. That's their hidden tactic. He knew Suman's setup, including that he used a Trezor Model 1 hardware wallet, a device meant to keep Bitcoin and digital assets offline and safe. Suman went on to tell Bloomberg that the guy knew everything, including the exact amount of digital assets he actually had. The attacker persuaded Suman that his Trezor 1 hardware wallet and its funds were at risk and walked him through a security procedure. Now, this is the first point where the attacker successfully extracted relevant details, personal confidential details from this person in order to conduct his attack. That involved entering his seed phrase. This is like the famous 24 password on your hardware wallet device. Now, this is like no keys, no coins. You might have heard that lemma. Well, this is the most sensitive information that you could ever disclose to anyone. It's something you should never ever do. Unless if you worry about passing on your digital wealth to your next of kin, then you need to find more legitimate confidential means to do that. Let's go on through this story, which I find interesting. Now, he says that it involved entering his seed phrase into a website that looked exactly the same like Coinbase in order to link his wallet to Coinbase. 9 days later, another guy called and repeated the process, saying the first one didn't work. And then all of Suman's digital assets, 17.5 Bitcoin and 225 Ether, so it wasn't just Bitcoin, it was a handful of ETH as well, were actually gone, vanished. At that time, Bitcoin was around $103,000 per coin and Ether around $2,500. So the stolen stash was over $2 million. Suman turned to digital assets after retiring from a decades-long art career. He stored his assets in cold storage to avoid the risk of online exchanges. He thought he did everything right. Suman's attackers did pick his name out of a hat. It looks like his personal information may have been leaked in the major breach at Coinbase. The company confirmed on May 15th, this is all recent news, that some of its customer service reps in India were bribed to access internal systems and steal customer data. The stolen data included names, phone numbers and email addresses, balances and partial social security numbers. According to Coinbase filing with the US Securities and Exchange Commission, the breach may have started as early as January and affected nearly 1% of the company's active monthly users, tens of thousands of people. Hackers demanded $20 million from Coinbase to keep the breach quiet, but the company refused to pay. Coinbase says it fired the compromised agents and is setting aside $180 million to $400 million in order to reimburse affected users. But so far, unfortunately, Suman, the unfortunate retiree who lost it all, hasn't been told if he'll be reimbursed. Since the breach was disclosed, Coinbase has been hit hard with at least 6 lawsuits. Finally, the lawsuits claim the company failed to protect user data and handled the aftermath poorly. One lawsuit filed in New York Federal Court on May 16th says Coinbase's response was inadequate, fragmented and delayed. Users were not promptly or fully informed of the compromise, the complaint states, and Coinbase did not immediately take meaningful steps to mitigate further harm. So, as an upshot here, there's a lot of gaps, a lot of loopholes, and it is true that I think the gentleman has done the right thing to offload his digital assets held originally on Coinbase to his Trezor hardware wallet device. But unfortunately, humans will always remain the weakest link. This is all the more reason why you should take the security seriously and do everything that you can to protect your digital asset holdings, particularly on your cold hardware wallet. I've made several videos which you can refer to the links in today's episode in order to dig deep into what are those industry best practice security features and measures that you can actually deploy right now. Now, let's move on to the rest of today's episode, which will walk through some other types of highly sophisticated scams which you need to be aware of. Okay, scammers are becoming more creative in targeting unsuspecting crypto users. One of the most dangerous tactics is the use of paid ads on platforms like Google and social media to promote fake crypto websites, airdrops, or promotions. Now, these ads often lead to highly convincing replica websites, tricking users into connecting their wallets to claim what they believe are free tokens or rewards. Once connected, however, the scammer gains access to the wallet, draining it of funds instantly. This type of scam is particularly effective because it leverages trust in familiar platforms like Google. That's why it's crucial to double-check URLs, ensuring you're on the official site of the project, and never click on sponsored ads, especially when dealing with crypto projects or DeFi protocols. Always access these websites directly by typing in the URL or using a saved bookmark. So the key takeaway is crypto users must stay vigilant, verify domains, and avoid sponsored ads to prevent their wallets from being drained. A newest scam plaguing the crypto world is the distribution of unsolicited ERC20 tokens or NFTs that suddenly appear in your wallet. At first glance, you may think you've received a free gift or an airdrop, but these tokens often come with hidden malicious code embedded within their smart contracts. The moment you attempt to transfer, sell, or interact with these tokens, the scam kicks in. The malicious code executes actions that actually compromises your wallet security, often allowing the scammer to gain access to your private keys or drain funds from your account. Now, this type of attack is particularly insidious because it can happen with just one click. To avoid falling victim, never interact with or attempt to transfer tokens that you didn't purchase or explicitly request. Even if the tokens seem legitimate, if they appear out of nowhere, it's best to avoid engaging with them. So the key takeaway here is be wary of unsolicited tokens. Interacting with them can result in your wallet from being compromised. In the world of crypto, many users are drawn to the promise of easy and automated profits. Trading bots that claim to generate thousands of dollars in returns daily are among the most common scams. These bots offer guaranteed profits and engage users to deploy a trading contract and deposit funds to start earning. However, hidden within the contract's code is obfuscated programming that locks your funds, ensuring only the scammer has access to them. The allure of quick profits blinds people to the reality that if a trading strategy was truly profitable, no one would sell it to the public. These scams are designed to prey on users' greed and lack of technical understanding. It's very important to remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Never trust bots or platforms that guarantee profits, especially without transparent code and verifiable track records. The key takeaway here is to please avoid trading bots that promise guaranteed profits. They're often designed to steal your funds at the end of the day. And finally, one of the more targeted scams involves blockchain developers and other tech professionals seeking employment in the crypto space. Scammers posting as potential employers invite candidates to participate in a job interview process during which they're asked to complete coding tasks or download specific software. Now, this typically happens under the guise of technical tasks like forking a GitHub repository or installing dependencies using npm install commands. Hidden within these downloads is malicious code that can install malware on your computer, steal your credentials, or worse, compromise your entire development environment. To safeguard against this, never download unverified software during an interview process, and if you must, use a virtual machine or isolated development environment. Developers should remain vigilant and never install anything they're unsure of, even if it seems like a legitimate interview request. So the key takeaway here is please be extremely cautious during job interviews. Fake interview tasks can introduce malware or even steal your credentials. So that's all I have in today's episode. Hopefully you've got some insight as to what are the growing set of highly sophisticated tactics and measures that the scammers are employing today. And as we are moving towards this digital era with everything to do with digital, whether it's conducting day-to-day commerce over the blockchain, over the website, through our apps, we are clearly living in this digital era, which is not going to go away anytime soon. And with every new technologies, well, they present new risks, new opportunities for hackers to tap into to see how they can exploit the new technologies that is emerging to their advantage. And scamming digital asset investors is no different. It's just another attack vector for the scammers to employ in order to conduct their mischievous and rather ruthless set of digital theft. And please do everything you can to safeguard your wealth, particularly held on cold storage. And another reason why you need to offload, if you have any, held on any crypto exchanges, whether it's Coinbase, Crypto.com, even though they are registered securities that are licensed in many jurisdictions around the world. As you've seen in the first story that I went through today, they still have huge gaps, huge holes, because they're a registered security firm. They're a counterparty risk. This is all the more reason why in my channel I've given a lot of videos explaining the different types of risk involved in digital asset wealth, and counterparty risk is one of the top risks in my list, which is the reason why I've decided to move the majority of my asset holdings on my cold wallet. But of course, as I said in the outset, you need to take on additional responsibility by being abreast with what are the security features, what are the sort of measures that I need to do, how can I update my firmware on my device, what type of additional password settings I need to employ, and importantly, how I can safeguard that information in a confidential, secure means. In my case, I've actually documented and safeguarded my 24-word seed phrase in my will and testament, because in the jurisdiction that I'm in, I've done the research to satisfy that there is, it's quite a robust set of security protocols in the notaries in the country that I live, where I've actually deposited that sensitive information in my will and testament document. But in addition to that, I've used, to give examples of the measures that I've used, is password vaults, password security vault apps, which there are many that you need to explore as well if that's something you're comfortable to do, where I've actually held my seed phrases on that. So there's a lot of ways you can actually safeguard and protect your sensitive information. And particularly when you're considering passing on that wealth to your next of kin, there's all the more reason why you need to take it upon yourself to do that legwork and research and then implement those measures, so you can rest sound at night and be reassured that the measures that I've employed to protect my sensitive information is kept safe. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to hit the like button, to share the video to other friends and colleagues at work, and if you haven't done so already, to please subscribe to my channel, as I regularly publish some interesting videos such as these, anything to do with Bitcoin, blockchain technology and the future of finance. So until next time.